continuously watching this upgrade as we go through, and I am going to show you the scroll up history of how I was monitoring it when I put this video on pause. So you could see how over the period when I type an lsj command, how I could see each of those upgrade jobs progressing. So you see 39, 39, 36, 39, and then how at regular intervals I was monitoring this and I was running lsj command, and all of them are still running, trying to go through all the phases. You could see the progress as I was typing the lsj command, and each of those DB upgrades except the job number 110, which I resumed, but because of shortage of CPU it is not finding time to pick up my job. And then over the period you could see that each one of them is almost about to close to 100%. And moving further, if you look at this particular job, in the previous lsj command it was 91% done, and when I checked it last at a moments later, then it says okay, the upgrade is done, now I am compiling the invalid objects. So you could see then after this one also reached to that stage of compiling invalid objects. And now, whereas compiling invalid objects is very much a part of the DB upgrade stage, now these two have come out of the DB upgrade stage and now they are running post fix up, which means that the DB upgrade and the compilation of invalid objects is all done, and now the post upgrade fixes, out of the 3 post upgrade fixes that it is intending to do, it has already completed 1, 2 of them are pending. So I am running it one more time. Now in this particular case you could see that all the post upgrade fix ups were applied. Now all that it is doing is converting my database, which was earlier 12.2 prior to the start of this upgrade. It has already finished doing the upgrade non-CDB to non-CDB 19C from 12.2 to 19C, and now it is converting this non-CDB into a PDB. A typical thing is we plug in a database and then we run non-CDB to PDB SQL script. So it runs describe phase, obtains a XML manifest file, then plugs this database into a container database, CDB all in our case, and then once it has run describe, unplug and the plug command, then it would run the script at the end of it, which is non-CDB to PDB SQL script. So I am checking it. This has also almost reached that same stage where it obtains a XML manifest and then unplugs or converts a non-CDB into a pluggable database, while others are still in a DB upgrade phase. Earlier this was 91%, now it's 92%, and they might soon come to a stage where they would start compiling the invalid objects. I can run through the status command to see how long I have been doing this upgrade, and you could see for 62 minutes the upgrade is in progress for the database named 11.2a, and this has been the DB upgrade phase has already run completed for 18C database. It has already done post checks, it has already done post fix ups, it has already completed the post upgrade steps, and now for last a minute or so it has been doing the non-CDB to PDB conversion. And same for this particular database, whereas the 12.1 is still hanging. It still says, oh, allow me to start, and there's not enough free CPU where you could resume that one. I said lsj, and now you could see that the plug part has been completed, and once the PDB is plugged as part of the plugging process, one has to run non-CDB to PDB.SQL script, and that's what it's running. Typically, this script takes around 5 to 10 minutes, and you should sooner see this one following up the trend as well. So currently it is running the dbms pdb.describe to obtain the XML manifest. Then it will plug in this database, and then once the PDB is plugged in, it would also run the non-CDB to PDB script. I am checking. It has already, by the time I was talking, it has already reached to that stage where the conversion scripts are converting it to a PDB. Basically, these scripts put in all the metadata synchronization between the container database and the pluggable database. Whereas the others are still doing in a DB upgrade phase, 92% done and 90% done. They are yet to do the heavy lifting. Once the DB upgrade finishes, they would start compiling the invalid objects, which is a parallel activity. That's when I see a lot of CPU hitting the roof. As of now, I see all my CPU is consumed. I hardly have any idle CPU percentage. And the run queues are more than the number of CPU cores I have got on my machine. There are 13 jobs currently in a run state, 13 or 14 jobs, but my machine has only 6 cores, which simply means that the idle percentage is very low. All that it is doing is running those 4 different upgrades. The 5th one is still on a standby, and my load averages are very high. Compared to that, I have 6 cores, my load average is showing 10 and running processes are 14, which means I am still using all the CPU capabilities of my machine, the compute power of my machine. I come back and I say LSJ, and you already see now this has finished doing the upgrade, and now it has reached the UTL-RP level where it will compile all the invalid objects post upgrade. Remember, this is currently still a non-CDB. Once the upgrade is done, once the invalid objects are compiled, then it will go to the describe phase, and then it will go and plug in the database, and then at the end it will run the non-CDB to PDB SQL script. Now, since it is already doing this, remember the name of the database is 112A, NCDB 112A. You would see a lot of processes for parallel compilation of belonging to that particular database. So there will be a lot of parallel processes for NCDB. These are nothing but the parallel recompilation workers which are running UTL-RP in parallel. And I hardly have any CPU left on my machine, 0.0% idle, 20 processes running, and my load averages is more than 2 times the number of CPU cores, which simply tells me that I am short on the CPU. The run queues of any more than CPU is not a good sign. The load averages showing any more than the number of CPU is not a good sign, but it is still okay. Occasional jumps might happen. But when the load averages reach 3 times the number of cores, that simply shows that you are very deficient on the compute capabilities. You must think of seriously upgrading the compute power of your machine. And so if I have 6 cores and if my load averages are 18, until 18 it still indicates that you are very high on CPU, but the moment if they start jumping beyond 18, which is 3 times the number of cores, it simply means for every CPU there are 3 jobs waiting, which means a lot of time will be spent on context switching. So my CPU is seriously deficient. Well, that's what was the whole purpose of showing this. I really like to burn all the compute power available on my machine, throwing a lot of work at it and let it cope up with that work. So here it's a serious thing now. So I have got 6 cores and my load averages are 18, which means every core has more than 3 times the work that it could really accomplish. But that's all well said and done. Let's go and check here what's the status here. 71% of the objects have been compiled. This is still in this phase. If really that's the case, I should be able to list out PDBs. And now you could see that I already have 12.2 PDB and I already have 18C PDB, and it is opened in a read write state. It is opened in a read write state, although my phase is still going on. Let me obtain the status one LSJ one more time, and it's still going on. So if you want to get a quick synopsis of how much time was spent on each of these activities, you could see the non-CDB activity, conversion activity, non-CDB to PDB conversion activity is still running for close to 8 minutes and for 7 minutes in this case. This one is starved because of the lack of CPU power on my machine. But I have already instructed it to pick it up whenever it finds, it deems it suitable. And once one of my upgrades is done, it would have ample time to pick it up, because by that time most of my 4 database upgrades would have completed. And then once one of the job completes, it will find some time and respite, and it would pick up this particular job, which I already told it to resume, but it has not started yet. Let's look at quickly the LSJ status. I am expecting this part to finish. Roughly it takes a rough if that would have been my only database running on this machine, it roughly takes anywhere between 5 to 10 minutes to run this script, non-CDB to pdb.sql. And I want you to see a live commentary as these jobs are happening, and that's the reason I am rolling this video and not putting a pause on it. And let's go and see the CPU commentary. You see my CPU is completely burnt into pieces. So the load averages are 21, and I told you earlier, if you look at my host details, I have got only 6 CPUs and roughly around 25 GB of memory, and I am doing 5 upgrades simultaneously. One of them, although is put on hold, other 4 are still doing all the heavy lifting, and they are burning my CPU compute power of my machine. Let us go and see the job statuses. So 94% of the compilation is done. I am waiting for this one, because this, once it finishes 100% and it enters the compile phase, again it's going to spawn parallel worker processes to do all the parallel recompilation of invalid objects. All that I am waiting for this one is to finish, so that one finishes and the other one then is picked up from the queue. And that's making me wait. It's been 11 minutes into that script and it is still going strong. By the time it has 94% invalid objects compiled, I want at least one of them to finish, so that I could show that the job which we have resumed without any manual intervention any further, it will pick it up. But somehow for that, one of the upgrade jobs has to finish. Either my recompilation or the non-CDB to PDB conversion script has to finish, so that my machine's CPU gets some breather, and then it will pick up the next one in the queue. Let's keep watching this. I am expecting anytime sooner one of the other jobs has to finish. Well, there's nothing much I can do at this moment except for watching these impatiently or patiently. Patiently means letting the job complete without you typing many commands. You typing many times in LSJ is not going to make things run faster. All that you can see is the latest commentary. That's it. Nothing more can be done at the moment. So let's keep on watching this, because I anticipate once one of the job finishes, we should soon be seeing the things. Well, while there's no point I wasting my CPU footage or this video footage on some activity where hardly we have any control on it. Let's try to see what is there that is pending after this upgrade. Remember, I said there would be a couple of PDB violations. We'll look at those PDB violations. Some of them might be that your components, like I told you, my 11G database does not have database vault, or for that matter Oracle label security components installed. So it will be reported saying, oh, your PDB, which is PDB 11.2a, does not have those components installed. Then just to remove those are not critical errors, those are warnings. So to get rid of those warnings, I am going to run the cat OLS script, which gets Oracle label security configured for my pluggable database. And I am going to get the same thing for database vault. Then I would show you that my character set of my 11G databases, I told you here the character set of my 11G database W8 MS Win 1252, and for my 12.1 database is also WE8 MS Win 1252. So when I plug them in here, there would be a warning which would say, hey, your container database uses a different character set than your pluggable databases. Remember, that's just a warning. And I told you it's perfectly fine if you choose to run your pluggable database with a different character set. It's perfectly fine as long as your CDB character set is AL32 UTF-8. But I won't like to go with an older outdated character set. I would ideally like to upgrade the character set of my pluggable databases once they are plugged in successfully to the same character set. So as part of the post upgrade efforts, I am going to open each of those pluggable databases where there are violations reported with warnings. One of them would be PDB 11.2a pluggable database, and I am going to change its character set to AL32 UTF-8. Same thing I would do it for the other database, which is PDB 121 database, and then I will make sure I clear up my PDB violations, clean up the view, and then I will see are there any more violations being reported. And once it all comes clean, all the pluggable database violation status shows resolved, then I can breathe a respite saying, okay, I have fixed all the violations. And then comes the last cosmetic activity. The cosmetic activity is about going and updating your OLR. Your OLR has those databases registered in their non-CDB form in their older Oracle homes. I do not want them to point to them. Let's in the meanwhile show you what's it looks like currently. So let me open another session to my virtual machine. Let me log in this time as user grid. Remember, this is a standalone grid installation. Let me set my Aura env to my ASM instance environment, and then I show you CRSCTL status resource -t, and a lot of databases are there. So you see there's a 11.2a database which initially was running from prior to the start of this upgrade from 11G Oracle home. Same was for the 11.2b database, which was also running from the old Oracle home. Then there's a 12.1 database which runs from the 12.1 Oracle home, which will no longer be true because all of them are going to go except for this one. So this one will be becoming my pluggable database, so there wouldn't be any mention of this. So I will have to remove this database entry from my OLR. I will have to remove my 12.1 database from the OLR. I will have to remove my 12.2 non-CDB 12.2 database from OLR because it's no longer a non-CDB now after the upgrade. And I will have to also remove my 18C database from OLR. So 4 databases would have to be removed because they are no longer non-container database to find a place in the OLR. Instead, they are all now pluggable database under my container database CDB all. and then there's a minor fix that would be required for this one. Although I will have non-CDB 12.2b database running, but it won't run any longer from 11G Oracle Home, it would be upgraded to 12.2. So non-CDB 11G to non-CDB 12.2, I will have to go and fix those things in my OLR so that it represents the correct status. So what I am going to do is run srvctl, remove the databases which are no longer required. So basically 11.2a, 12.1, 12.2, 18c, all these databases would be removed from my OLR. And then the one that I have upgraded from 11G release to 12.2 non-CDB to non-CDB retaining the name, I don't have to remove it, I just have to upgrade the database by saying srvctl upgrade database. So it changes the OLR keys and pointers to point to my 12.2 home. So that would be my concluding task before I close this video, which I am currently running in a noob mode. Remember, I am yet to record the next part where I would be running in a second attempt in a pro mode, where I would unleash my pre and post upgrade scripts, which are shell scripts in my config file. They are currently commented, and I am going to only run a single command in that case, and that single command would make sure from start to end my upgrade runs without any manual intervention. The interventions that I am doing prior to the upgrade, like removing Apex schema and removing certain other post checks such as PDB violations, adjusting my srvctl, they would all be run as one set of activities. You see now one of my database has been upgraded, which is non-CDB 12.2. The job has completed. I say lsj. The moment that job completed, the one that was put on hold has automatically resumed. So now you see the pre-checks preparing is in a running stage for my job, which was long resumed, but because of lack of CPU capacity, it was not running, it was put on hold. And the moment one of the DB upgrades has finished, it has started progressing well now. I can run the status command, and the one that finished is this one. And you get a complete summary of how long each of those phases in my deploy mode has taken. So this is a good synopsis for you to estimate how long it's going to take in the production. You can splice the, you can sum up all the times, and then you can say, okay, 19 minutes for non-CDB, 1 minute for post upgrade, and so on. So roughly it's going to take X minutes to do me an upgrade in production. So that gives you a better control on estimating how long it's going to take in production. Assuming both prod and where you are running currently, they are like to like machines, like to like workloads, then you can estimate that your production is going to take so and so time. I say lsj, and you could see one of the job listed 113 is also completed. So my 18C database upgrade has also completed. Now what is remaining is, currently this is running postfix for my 11.2a database, and the other 11.2b database, which would be eventually upgraded to 12.2, it's currently 94% upgraded, and the one that is lagging behind others is my 12.1 database, which is currently still running prefix, although it has almost completed some of the nasty prefix tasks. Let's run through lsj, and we could see how well the jobs are progressing. So let us wait for some more time. So the plugin of 18C and 12.2 database has completed, whereas this one is currently into post fixup. Then once the post fixups are done, it's going to run the post upgrades, and then the post upgrade is unplug and plug a database. and then obviously once the database is plugged in into the 19C, the conversion part, non-CDB to PDB SQL script. So let us monitor it for some more time so that we get a good enough idea. As of now, when I say PDBs, I could see the 12.2 has become a pluggable database, 18C has become a pluggable database. Now I can straight away go ahead and start running the removal commands. Now I know that 12.2 has already been upgraded, so I can remove my 12.2 database from the Oracle local registry, and I can go and remove my 18C database also from my Oracle local registry, because they have now become PDBs, they are no longer standalone non-CDBs. Instead of waiting for the things to finish, why not go and run them? So here I am Oracle user, I set it, and all I am saying is just remove the references for my NCDB database from my Oracle local registry, and do not expect my answer as Y. If you don't put this Y, it will prompt you, are you sure you really want to remove this database? I said yes, go and remove it silently. I am going to do the same thing for my 18C database, which has already been upgraded. So I said no point, set the environment to 18C Oracle home and remove it. Let's go and check. At the end of it, you don't want to see these two databases. I am going to rerun this command, and no more you see a 12.2 and 18C database now in your OLR. The remaining ones are these ones. I need to wait for the upgrade to finish, and I am going to go and clean them up as well once they have been successfully plugged in. So I said LSJ. Now you see the postfix has completed, and now it has reached to a stage where it is running the conversion script. This one is also this one is the completed job, so I need not look into this one. And here the DB upgrade for my 12.1 is still in progress. Again, as I said, hardly there's anything that I need to do except for monitoring this, and it serves no purpose to keep this video rolling. So I am going to put a pause. When I present you this video, I will splice all these parts together so that for you it's a start to end one common viewing experience.